everybody? This is Nemo from Middle Age Still Single. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. Peace.
Have I ever ghosted anyone? Honestly, I have. I know this isn't the best answer. I probably should say no, but it's not the truth. I have actually ghosted people. So I don't practice this anymore because it's super immature. But honestly, there are a group of men who sometimes don't take no for an answer very well. And so sometimes men will become angry. They'll become violent even. They'll attack you verbally. They'll call you names if you reject them. And so in the past, I've said, you know what? It's easier to just disappear than to get that verbal attack, right? But it is really immature and not really great. So I stopped doing that and just decided if they decide to lash out on me, it's not my fault, not my problem, not my issue. And the block button is real. Have I ever been ghosted? Honestly, at first I said no because I don't think I've ever been ghosted by anyone that mattered. But there was one guy who ghosted me after we were in an actual relationship. And then he just ghosted me for multiple days. Stopped talking to me. He was supposed to come see me, didn't come see me. And just completely disappeared off the face of the earth. However, he did come back like 5 or 6 days later. And he was like, gave me some excuse that I knew was bullcrap. And so I just said, yeah, we're good. Talk to you soon. Have a great life. But I've never been ghosted apart from that, I don't think, other than maybe like, conversations just kind of drop off. So ghosting I know is not the best, but I do understand why people do it because people be cray these days.
So have I ghosted anyone and has anyone ghosted me? I would have to say the answer to both is not really, at least nothing significant. Might have gone out with somebody once or twice and they kept, sending me messages or trying to get in touch with me and I kind of let that fade into the woodwork. I really believe it's better to just tell someone if they're asking to see you again and you don't want to, that, you're not feeling it. Maybe you could keep in touch or be friends and just see what happens from there. But I'd rather have someone tell me than just disappear. So I think it's a respectful way to handle things. Good luck, everybody.
All right, welcome back to Middle Age Still Single. Happy Sunday to everybody. Have the whole crew and a first-time guest. We have Miss ELMA. Miss ELMA is a friend of mine from my job, one of my jobs. She is a teacher. We're going to learn a little bit more about her a little later, but let's get the conversation started here. Today's topic is ghosting. Ghosting. Let me give you the Urban Dictionary definition of ghosting. All right. When a person cuts off all communication with their friends or the person they're dating with zero warning or notice beforehand. Let's start with Mitch. Mitch, have you ever ghosted anyone?
I have not. I have not ghosted anyone. I've had, in my years, there are friendships that have come and gone. But I wouldn't consider the end of a friendship where two people have just walked away to go pursue their lives as ghosting. I know you just read the definition, but ghosting usually implies that it happened without warning. So no, I have never ghosted anybody. I've had friendships break up, and not even just break up, just two lives going in different directions. So no on that, and I've not been ghosted. Pretty much the same situation. If I have a friendship or a relationship and it's not going well or we're going in different directions, there's a discussion and then it just ends. It's not like one person is waiting to hear from the next one. The other one has just disappeared, changed their phone number, moved away, moved out of the country or anything like that. So, it's not very exciting conversation, but I have, never ghosted anyone and I haven't been ghosted, by anybody. So maybe not leading an adventurous enough life. I need to get out there more. Maybe I need to meet more people and then just ignore them.
Yeah. All right. Now, you're right, brother. Tell me, have you ghosted? Well, I'm going to ask, how many of you have you ghosted?
A few.
A few? Okay. Why?
Because they did it to me first. When I was a young simp, I got ghosted, man. I was trying to be a good guy. I was trying to be nice. I was dating women that, I could have did better, right? but I thought that was where my level was, right? I was dealing with people who were not like whose mindset was different, and they were just kind of grimy, you know. And I was a nice simp, and I got ghosted, man, and it didn't feel good, brother. But when I got older, well, when I made up my mind I was no longer going to be a simp, then I did one of their sisters like that.
Just for the foreigners that might be listening to the show, can you give us the definition of simp one more time?
I think everybody knows what a simp is, Nemo, except you.
Not foreigners. No, not
Hey,
foreigners.
man,
Can you please help me out with that again one more time?
just point up and to the left, man, so that the people can see what a simp is.
Okay, the guy that just asked the question,
Yeah.
that's a simp.
Okay, all right.
A simp is a guy. A simp is a person, typically a guy, who puts himself second for someone who doesn't return the interest. And he's trying and he's trying. He's sending flowers and she's denying him. He's being overly nice. She's ghosting him. Nothing that he does seems to satisfy her, but he keeps trying. And that's the kind of simplified version of what a simp is. There's a lot of things that guys can do that can be simpish, right? But a guy who, okay, so for example, now everything is online, right? So you have real guys having real guy conversations about women. And then there's another guy that will come in and say, man, women are great. Okay, that's a simp. Because
why is that? Why is that?
Because
you said women are great.
Because we're having a conversation about men and what men want and what men need. We don't need some guy coming in talking about the enemy. At that
enemy? Wow. Wow.
The enemy.
I said
enemy. Wow.
I said it.
Wow.
If I'm in a conversation with men,
that's a different level.
If I'm in a conversation with men about women, I'm talking about men. Now, if I'm in a conversation with men about women, then we'll have the conversation about women. If I'm having a conversation with ELMA about women, why am I going to start talking to her about men? She's going to be like, I don't care about men right now. Well, she probably won't. But what I'm saying is, if a man is okay, let's say you're having a psychological conversation, an emotional conversation with the guys about a woman who did you wrong, and then you have this guy comes in and says, "Well, what did you do?"
You're just being overly sensitive at that point. That's all.
No, I think you're being a simp.
Too sensitive.
I think you're being a simp because
it's too
most men are not overly. What did you say?
Too sensitive.
Overly sensitive. It's not even. That's not even a man's word. But you said.
Oh, really? Oh.
Men don't use words like that. Sensitive, emotional.
Well, I'm sensitive, so I'll let you know that. So I'm a simp.
Again, definition of a simp.
Okay.
How's that working out for you over there?
You are answering your own question.
Pretty good. I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Okay.
Yes, I'm doing well.
All right.
And there you go.
There you go. Miss Elma, why don't you get in on some of this and present the other side here?
Have I ever ghosted?
Have you ever ghosted anybody? Yes.
I have never ghosted anyone,
okay.
But I must say that I can write the book on being ghosted. It has happened so many times, and that comes to the other question on rejection and how you take rejection and how important it is that you don't take that upon yourself as something that you did. And there is such thing as for the person that keeps sending flowers and with no response is a response.
Yes, it is.
That person does not want you. No response. I will. So for me, I will send that text message, that first text message to say hi or to say, how are you? If there's no response, that person I know that does not want to talk to me. That's it. It ends right there. There is no more conversation. There's no more I value myself enough to never, I will never chase a man. So if he's telling, that's a response to me. That's him telling me that whatever it is, and I don't take that personal. I don't take that as, what have I done wrong? I take that as I wasn't his person. I wasn't the person that he wanted to spend time with. I wasn't the person that he wanted to talk to. There's somebody out there for him. There's somebody out there for me, and life moves on. Is it extremely rude? Absolutely. Absolutely. I would never do that to someone because you never know how somebody's going to take that and think that they did something that you're going to take so personal. So, just a simple text message saying, you know what, I'm just not feeling it. It's a lot better. And I can say a lot more on ghosting, but I'll give you guys a chance to speak as well.
Listen, now, just quick question on that. Like, so you said you could write a book on it. Like, why do you think it keeps happening to you? What is it that you're doing or not doing that you think is causing it?
I really believe that the dating world that we live in right now, there's this culture of hookups. There's this culture of one night stands or casual sex. I really believe there's a lot of that going on right now. So when you find somebody that actually wants a relationship, somebody that wants to get to know you, I think you can scare people off. I think you can, people pull back, and a lot of people are not ready for that. A lot of people don't really want that. It's really hard to find somebody that is willing to get to know you and slowly build a relationship with someone. So ghosting is just a way of, and I think that's one of the reasons people ghost is because you want a relation. I actually had somebody say that to me. What you want is not what I'm willing to give you. I don't want a relationship. I just want something casual. So that was one of the people that was nice enough to actually communicate. But most people, they don't want the emotional interaction of saying, I, have to actually face this person to let them know. It's an uncomfortable situation for some people. It's uncomfortable for the person that is ghosting. It's uncomfortable for the person that is being, ghosted to actually say, I don't want you. But I think that we live in a culture of hookups, of a culture of, I'm just going to see you for a little while. And everybody has made, or not everybody, but a lot of people has made that very, very acceptable and okay. So when you find somebody that it's not acceptable for them and they have values and they have morals and they have, it's kind of hard to, to say to that person that that's not what they want.
So Alma,
So your thoughts on that?
these series of ghost experiences that you had, has that been in your recently or was that when you were young?
Oh,
Yeah.
recently.
Young,
Yeah.
young, beautiful women don't get ghosted. And
Thank you. Thank you for saying
you're a
that.
beautiful woman. What I'm saying is like you're right about the culture, right? The culture is one of like the microwave generation, right? And the young, beautiful girl is probably going there. She's probably doing those things that you are saying. You have to bring me something, right? And the younger girls are like,
Exactly.
nah, come with it. You give me something, I got something for you.
True. I agree with you. I agree with you that when you much younger, and I've met much younger women, beautiful women, they're very willing to just do the casual thing or do the one night stand or the friends with benefits, which is it's a big thing as well now. In all this, I have learned it only since I've been single in the last few years that I had no idea that this is actual. And I don't know if has always been the culture or if this is a new thing since COVID and dating apps, and because this is the way to meet people, right? There's nothing, organic anymore where two people get together and bump into each other. It's, everybody's on dating apps, meeting people and swiping left and swiping right. Going by looks. We go by looks a lot. Oh, this person looks good. Let's read the profile. And what you read is so little, you don't really get to know anybody like that. And by the time you start talking, there is the nudes, of course, that everybody wants a nude before, send me an entire body picture so I can see if you really look good. There's all these things that is just not organic anymore. So for younger girls, they really don't care about things like that. When you value yourself and you want so much more for your life when you're older, it's very different. It's a different life. You know, I believe I was married when I was very young, so talking to other people that are very young, they don't understand why I would take relationships so serious, or why I would actually want a relationship. Why can't you just go with the flow? There is the saying, let's just go with the flow and see where this goes. The moment that I hear a man say that to me, yeah, I'll take you out a couple of times and let's just see where this goes and let's just go with the flow. Right there, to me, what I hear is, I don't know what I want, and it's probably not you that I want.
No, he
So,
wants you.
right there, I cut that off. Yeah, right there,
He wants you,
telling me
Elma.
already that
He
you,
wants you, Elma.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, you're right. So are you come off like a traditional woman? Is that? Oh, she embraced it. I love it. I
She's
love
very
it.
much a
Yeah.
So
traditional woman. Very much.
that's the reason why the only men that are going to really not ghost you are going to be men that still appreciate that type of woman. And they are out there. I think all of us here appreciate it. We like modern women too, but I think we all like some of the things that a traditional woman like you brings to the table. We know you don't have a lot of bodies. That's good. If you don't have a lot of bodies,
That's true.
that's good.
That's very true. And that's actually a concern for some men that I have met, that they say, how can that be that you don't have a lot of bodies? How can that be? It's just, it is what it is. I've been in 4 relationships my entire life, and that's it. And I'm 55 years old. And that to some men is a concern, that it's actually to some men is unacceptable that, that this is the way, but I'm very
What's
proud of
unacceptable?
it. And that I have not been
As you
in
should
so
be.
many relationships. Therefore, I think there's a lot of men that feel like because I haven't been in so many relationships, that sexually I am a prude, or that I don't have experience, or that, I don't have much to, or that I have so much to learn still. And that is absolutely not the
Let them know,
story
Emma,
at
that's
all.
wrong. You can handle
don't
yourself just fine.
don't judge a book by the number,
That's
right,
right.
Elma? Don't
Yeah,
judge a book by
That's
the
right.
number.
That's
you,
absolutely
you can
right.
handle yourself, Emma. Let them know.
Hey,
We don't play
she's
around with you.
Brazilian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hey.
you'll teach him a
And
lesson
that's
or two.
all I'm going to say.
All right, Emo, come back. Uh, I think I'm almost positive, just like I know Nas has ghosted some women. I know you've been ghosted like hundreds of times, right? Tell me
Oh,
about that, bro.
wait a minute. What is the question?
Eh,
Why would you?
Have you been ghosted, man?
Can you go the opposite?
No,
Have
let's
I
start with
ghosted
that one.
somebody?
No, let's start with this one, man. Have you ghosted somebody?
Yes, definitely. I've
All
ghosted
right,
somebody.
all right.
Yes, in my young days, I've ghosted plenty of people. I won't say I'm proud of it, but I've done it mainly because, like Emma said, if I'm not interested in you and I don't want to have to deal with the texting, and I'm also in a way I'm worried about how you're gonna feel on the opposite side, then I just stop communication. But one thing I did learn today though is no respond is a respond. That is brilliant,
Mm-hmm.
So I never actually thought about it, but yes, if I'm not interested, I just shut down. I'm like, I don't want to get you or make you think there's something there that is not, so I just shut it down. So yes, I've done it. And I've been ghosted too. I don't know if we're gonna get back or you want me to talk about that.
No, go ahead, man. Let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
so I've been ghosted many times too. So now for some people that say they haven't been ghosted, what world are you living in? I mean, come
Yeah.
on. I mean, you must have been ghosted or somebody ghosted you. So you're telling me you lived the entire life, everybody that you talked to was interested or wasn't interested or communicate properly. That is just an amazing. It's like winning the lottery. The chances of that happening is just crazy, you know. But if it happens to Mitch, hey,
Alma.
Mitch is one
This
of a
is what he
kind, as they can
does.
say.
This is what he does. He takes somebody else's information and starts criticizing them. Like he's criticizing Mitch because Mitch has never been ghosted before.
Mitch, so you've never been
Well, and
ghosted
some of that,
before, ever.
Ever.
well, here's no, and it's because I don't put myself out there. I'm focused on work. I'm focused on travel. I don't actively go out and pursue, and I'm not dating. I haven't dated in years. But the other thing that you don't know, and then people who are listening to this are like, oh, come on, that's BS. I have never been on a dating site. As a matter of fact, I'm letting the guys down because 3 weeks ago I was supposed to be part of an experiment and I have not followed through yet, and gotten on. I wrote a bio and sent in some pictures and I got some advice on it, but I've never been on a dating site. So I've not put myself in a position to get ghosted. And so, yeah, I'm probably a unicorn in that sense. But I promised Rob last night that I'd get that done today or tomorrow, and we'd get some stats running. So maybe in a week or so, I'll have a different story for
Okay,
you,
so you
Elma.
see now, you see what just happened? We just get an explanation for why it happens. So don't question me when I question you.
All right, King Nemo.
Well, listen.
Now, I could have explained it when I said it.
Nemo
Yeah, I
needed
could have
more
explained it while I said it, but then we wouldn't have this wonderful exchange right now.
That's what I bring to it.
Nemo's just trying to throw some of the spotlight off of his hundreds of times being ghosted.
Yes, that's why I'm sensitive. You know, that's why I'm a simp. A simp.
Well, you know what? I'm proud of you
Yeah.
for admitting it, bro.
Hey, yeah, you finally come out and admit, man. It's the first time he's admitted
Everybody
it,
else
Elma.
coming out of the closet, bro. You might as well.
You bringing out
You
the
might
best
as
in him,
well
Elma. You're bringing
come
out the
on
best
out
in
too,
him.
bro. Come out in the light.
Yeah.
I'm on the light right now. I'm shining bright.
Okay. Don't go too bright now. It ain't nothing to be super proud of.
Don't worry about me. That's your opinion.
Hey, all right. Hey. Anyway, so the question to me, yeah, I have definitely ghosted quite a few people, and I've been ghosted quite a few times. I know. I haven't done it really recently, but I've been one to avoid a really bad situation unless, like, I absolutely positively have to do that. Like, I've become a little bit more, I don't want to say confrontational as I got older, but I'm not an avoider now. Yeah, like, I am quick to get out. I'm quick to find a reason to stop dating somebody. Like when I actually do try to date, like it doesn't take much for me to like just get turned off. You know, I've had some girls like send me some texts like just for an example. I want to say about probably 3 or 4 years ago, I got fixed up with somebody, and she came over. We had dinner. Everything was cool, and she stayed over. We hung out all night. We got up, and I was ready. I was ready to go start my day. And I took her. I walked her to her car, and she asked me what I was about to do. And she's like, "Well, I'll come with you." I'm like, "Oh no!" Like that, you know. I was like ready to be done. Like, you know. And she just wouldn't leave. And that was the last time I talked to her. Like, I was like, okay, like, you know, enough is enough. Like I'm very particular who I spend my time with, and you know, especially for somebody I haven't really invested a whole lot in. To me, the culture is ghosting, so I ghost. You know, I'm not gonna do like.
So can I ask,
Sure.
why couldn't you just have sent her a text message and said, you know, your behavior really made me uncomfortable, and I just don't think that you are the person that I would want to spend time with because that situation made me uncomfortable.
Because I knew it. And if I explained to her, she would try to defend herself. And like, well, that's not what I'm like. Like, I knew it, and I just cut it. You know, I just ripped the Band-Aid off. That was, you know, like when you know it, you know it. Like, and I don't feel bad about it. And you know, and when it happens to me, I don't feel bad about it now. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how things go these days. Like, you know, if I'm going to be part of the system, I have to accept the system. This is how people do things these days. If I'm going to go online and date people online, this is how the game is played. So let's play the game,
Right.
right? You know, it's not. Believe me,
Yeah,
and I
you
know
can't
it's
take
not
that stuff
polite.
personal.
Yeah, but you know what though? If I was with somebody for like a month or 2 months, like we'd really had something, I wouldn't do it. But what I'm saying is, like, it's been so long since I've actually like gotten past like a first and second date. Like, you know, that's still, to me, that's still in the ghost window. You know, 1 or 2 dates, I can still ghost your ass and not feel too bad about it. You know what I'm saying?
But
And like you said,
But
it's
listen,
become
So I
the
have a
norm
question
nowadays.
for
And I think technology is
yeah,
part of the problem. Social media is
I have,
part of the problem. Yeah.
I agree. I have a question then
sure,
for the four of you as far as that
okay.
goes. So in a relationship, any relationship that you've been, any person that you've been with, when there was an argument, when there was an issue, when there was a problem, how did you resolve that?
Ghost them. It's a wrap.
Because to me, ghosting is very similar, or it's a form of silent treatment. If you do, to me, a man that will ghost you in a relationship, he'll also be that person that will give you the silent treatment when there is an issue. Tell me what you think of that.
I think
um,
you're right. I think she's right about that. I think
And
she's
what do
right.
we think of the silent treatment?
I think
well,
it's good.
you think it's good? Okay,
Yeah.
so to me, I'll be honest with you. It depends on if it depends on the woman. Like if you want to hurt a woman, like specific woman, like you want to teach her, you know, not just teach her a lesson, but like everybody has a different butt. Like I know some women, the silent treatment just drives them crazy, right? Like don't pick
Mm-hmm.
up the phone, don't text, like no communication at all. But then some women, you know, like something totally different would push that button. So to me, if you're trying to you're in the middle of an argument and you're trying to push a button, the silent treatment could work for some women. And like for me, the silent treatment would be like what I'd be waiting for. That'd be like joy to me because I like solitude and I like quiet. I was like, man, she finally did something good for me. You know, she stopped talking. You know, so for me, the silent treatment would be okay. So, but depending on who the person is, you have to push a different button, right? Like I take it the silent treatment, like that doesn't do you any good, right? That hurts you, Elma.
I think it's actually silent. I think it's very offensive
Okay.
to do that with someone, to do that to someone. And being someone who was in a marriage for 22 years with someone that the silent treatment was his way of life, his way of dealing with issues, I can tell you that is like the most terrifying, excruciating pain you can inflict on a person is to give someone the silent treatment. Um, it is such a horrifying form of abuse, and that leaves somebody so broken for so long, not understanding why. Because the first thing that a person thinks about is, why am I not good enough for you to at least acknowledge that I am here, that I am in the room, that I am, that there's an issue going on. So what I heard when you said that, Robert, was when when I want to try to hurt someone, that's what I heard. And that to me is really like,
Yeah.
it's a big deal,
That's why he's
that.
single, Emma. That's why he's
That's
single.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Listen, Elma, it's a trigger for you. Like I can see, like it's a serious trigger for you. Um, and depending on the argument, like if you really want to, listen, I'm not trying to hurt nobody. I'm not that type of guy to like try to scar somebody for life. But what I'm saying is, if I want you to get my point, if I want to get my point across that what you did was not cool, I'm gonna push your button, right? Like if you did something like I'm just not gonna have, you know, but before I leave, I'm just gonna give you that silent treatment just to let you know that I'm serious about what we were arguing and discussing. All right. But like I can see for you, like that's a trigger. That's something, that's a scar.
Actually, it is not a trigger. It is something that I went through, but it's not a trigger. It's trigger because when you go through things like that, you have to heal from it so you can go on and move on with your life. Otherwise, you stay in the same place. And the only reason I am saying, and I am, I'm saying all these things here, is that it is just, it's some place it needs to, to stop. We all need to think about what we are doing to the other person, and to know that that's, to me, is not a trigger, because I understand that it's about the other person. It's not about me. That's how that person deals with issues and in their relationships. So it's absolutely not about me. So that's why ghosting, to me, I think it's not a cool act. It's not a cool thing to do to someone. But I don't take that personal,
Yeah.
because it is absolutely zero about me and 100% about the other person.
Right.
It's the way he, deals with not wanting to face issues or not wanting to face that person, just to say, it's not working. So 100% not about me at all. So it's not really a trigger. It's just something that I think we all, as people, as human beings, need to understand that that is a form of abuse, and that it needs to somehow, we need to be conscientious, and we need to be aware of what we inflict on other people, because it is a very, very painful, thing to go through. So that's why I wanted to mention that.
I see a difference, or even an opposite of the two, silent treatment versus ghosting. Ghosting to me is the silence of two people who don't know each other very much, and then one of them doesn't show an interest, or they both don't show an interest. When you say silent treatment, to me, I immediately go to a relationship, because you don't give a silent treatment to a stranger. And if you're in a relationship and you're not communicating, and the silent treatment is in your arsenal to make things happen, that's a communication problem, and that relationship is either doomed to fail or is going to continue to have lots of hurdles. Now, with that being said, if one of them, or even both, want to go off into their mutual corner and take 30 minutes to calm down, think about their stuff, not talk for a while, and then when the bell rings, come back 30 minutes and then have it out, at least you've gotten your time to clear your head, maybe let some anger disappear, but you then have to come back and you have to engage in that communication. So if you want to call that a silent treatment, just disappearing for 30 minutes or so, but you can't just disappear on your mate in a relationship for 3-4 days. I'm not going to talk to her at all. I mean, you're in a relationship to succeed. It's a partnership, right? So you've got to go off into your corners, wait for that bell to ring, come back and work it out there. And if it takes 2 rounds or 3 rounds, then so be it. You're in a relationship. You should be fighting for that anyway. So yeah, I don't believe there's any reason at all for a silent treatment. The ghosting, I have a full understanding, but again, it's based on where that relationship is with the person. Is it long term, or is it a stranger you're trying to date?
Thank you, Thank you, Dr. Phil.
That's right, Dr. Phil.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you have anything before we shut this down, man?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, ghosting is kind of a cultural thing, the larger culture, right? It's just like sometimes people will exchange phone numbers because they're being polite in the moment, right? And then they realize later, for whatever reason, they just don't want to talk to you. And then, like Nemo said, most guys, how we deal with it is we just don't call you back. Or don't answer your call, right? It's not personal. I take it personally. I do. But it's just the way it is. It's just somehow you have to deal with it. But I think in a relationship, if somebody is giving you the silent treatment, in my view, like a man, like me and Rob are very similar in this. We don't mind being by ourselves, right? And I don't have arguments. If I'm arguing with a woman, the next day I got a box ready and I'm walking out the door. I just don't argue. There's no point in it. I mean, if I'm arguing with a woman, there's something about us that's not lining up. Because adults shouldn't argue. Adults can have a discussion about a misunderstanding. But arguing, to me, I will fire a woman's ass in a minute for an argument. And I'll be out the door. And so if a woman gives me the silent treatment, then I go get my box too. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. If she's silent, I'm like, yes. You know, but I think that in a relationship, if you're trying to make that relationship work, at some point the conversation has to be around how do you deal with disagreements? And if the person is like me and Rob and we say, I'm shutting it down and I'm going into my zone, then that woman knows if she needs communication throughout the discussion, that we're going to be a problem for her. Like you would probably want to stab me and Rob.
I think she may already want to stab us.
But you might be okay with Mitch and Nemo because those two will probably be more expressive in a disagreement.
Yeah, we are the simps.
Well, I would say I wouldn't say wanting to have a conversation with your woman in a relationship is a simp. I would say that you guys, your makeup of how you respond to conflict is to embrace it and or work through it.
Well, not embrace it, but right. Work out the problems. It's communication.
To me, I'm not embracing it. I'm just not going to do it.
Like at some point, the argument, like if it's not going anywhere, like somebody's got to stop the argument, right? And if it's not settled, right, you got to do something. Like you just can't keep going over and over and over again and expecting somebody to change their mind, right?
So absolutely not. So when I said that, I meant in a disagreement or how do you? Sorry, my Alexa went off. Alexa off. In a disagreement, when there's something going on, when there is an issue in the relationship, how do you deal with? Do you, and like Mitch said, taking 30 minutes or taking an hour and say, or even taking a 24-hour and say, you know what, let's not talk about this right now because I don't feel like I can be of service to you by having this conversation right now. Tomorrow we can do that. I think it's absolutely acceptable and it should be something that should be done. What I'm talking about is when something's happening and there is has had an argument or whatever it is that's going on, and that person just walks away, not says anything, and then when the other person says, "Hey, can we talk again about this?" and then there is that, "No, we're not going to talk," but that's not even a conversation about it. It's like silence for days and days. And
if a man has decided to be in a relationship with you, knowing that you require that, and he doesn't give it to you, that's a strategy on his part. He's intentionally doing that because he knows that it hurts you. Let's get that out the way. But so for some guys,
absolutely,
like me, I'm just not. What are we talking about that we got to take 30 minutes and come back and do it again? Like what kind of conversation are we having? What kind of disagreement are we having that requires me to separate myself in silence and then let's come back again? And this is what I'm saying. If I get into that type of a discussion with someone, then that means that there's something wrong in the relationship beyond just that one argument. Because, one disagreement or whatever it is. Because I don't see what grown-ups argue about. If I cheat on you,
all right, so I think we lost Nas there for a second there.
We lost Nas.
Yeah,
I think what. Well, I'll jump in real quick. If
before we end up,
what is there really to argue about, right? Like, and then what is literally a 30-minute break, after an argument really going to do if nothing's settled? Like, so you really need, to me, you need a little bit more time to think about things and stuff like that.
Yeah, for me though,
30 minutes is just an example of walking away because some people get excited. walking away and taking the time. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 30 minutes. I use 30 as an example. But I think if you're in a relationship, you're going to have disagreements. Adults have disagreements. And so
I agree.
if you're in that relationship, you're working hard to keep it going, and you've got to find a happy medium. And if you don't, then yeah, there's a problem with the relationship. But if people are really trying, you'll come to an understanding with that disagreement. But people disagree all the time. Kids disagree, adults disagree, and in relationships, you will have disagreements. People have stances and that they believe in, and you don't have to agree with them all the time. You have to be able to responsibly and respectfully be able to say, okay, well, we don't need to be yelling. Like when we use the word argue, please don't think that this is all yelling. This is just a disagreement. If it's yelling, then there's a bigger problem. Yeah. Right? If you're disrespecting someone in your relationship by raising your voice, there's a bigger problem. But if it's just a disagreement and you can't come together, then it's just a disagreement, and you can still respect that person for having an opinion that isn't yours. It's when that argument turns into something much bigger than that it becomes a problem.
Let me finish.
Emma,
Welcome back, Nas.
I'm going to finish my thought real quick, Nemo, and then I'll let you have it.
Absolutely.
Let me clarify my what I'm saying. I'm not saying I will leave a relationship because of disagreement, but I will leave a relationship because of an argument. Because I don't, once people start yelling at each other, and once people start calling each other names, and because that's how I see an argument. When I see it get to a place where we are intentionally trying to hurt each other, then there's a disconnect in that relationship. And I agree with Mitch that adults have disagreements, and I don't mind working on a disagreement. If I disagree with you on something, let's sit down, let's talk about it. I just don't deal with arguments or conflicts in a relationship that lead us to places of disrespect. That's where I was trying to get to when I got cut off.
Yeah, I think the argument definitely implies that there is raised voices, and there's at least one side is disrespecting the other.
Right.
Whereas a disagreement is totally different. But if I have to argue, I'm not really that guy to argue.
I'm out the door.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead, Nemo. My bad.
So Emma, this is for you. Just tell me if I'm wrong. So
yeah,
basically,
wrong.
what I do is every Saturday I have an argument with my ex during football season, and I always tell her I need 24 hours of silence. So that bleeds into my Sunday nights. And during football season, am I wrong for doing that? She's a foreigner, so she didn't know what was going on until she catch up.
Did I hear you say I have an argument with my ex?
Well, back then when I was. That's
Oh,
what I
okay.
did. Yeah, that's what I did. Do you think that was
So
something?
you'd have a argument on Saturday,
and say I needed 24 hours time to think about it,
He can watch football.
which bleeds into Sunday. So I can watch all my football. No interruption. Then Monday, back to normal. You think there's something wrong with me?
Couldn't she just watch football with you?
No, she hates football.
So he had no choice, Alma.
I had no choice. I had to do what I got to do.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you that one. I think Nemo's just an asshole for requiring 24 hours, man. Come on, bro.
I'm just trying to make up for calling him a simp the whole show.
You can't just do NFL, just do 6 hours, man. You had to take a whole 24.
Hey, man, I need a whole day, man.
Jesus
12
Christ,
o'clock.
Man. Anyway, so that went in a different direction than we had planned. But listen, always a good thing to discuss your relationships, and the more we talk about this stuff, the more I get to know about you guys, and the more I feel like we're never going to be in a relationship, man. I think,
well, simp like me will.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing this podcast for the next 40 years, man. Like old age and still single soon, man. Yeah. Jesus Christ! All right.
Being single is not so bad, and you all know that.
No. It's great. Actually, I wouldn't change it.
It's actually really good.
All right. Well, listen. Let's cut this here, and we'll have to come back and do a bucket list segment, and also do a how to break up. What's the best way to break up segment? I've actually had a
Ghost.
couple people. In fact, last night somebody I can't mention any names, but last night a friend of mine asked me to do that segment, and I told her that I would get that done. So in the next week or two, we have to get a what's the best way to break up with somebody's segment. We'll
Thank
have
you
to
for
have you.
having me on.
We'll have to have you on here, Elma, for breaking up.
Thank you for having
Oh,
me
no
on.
problem. No problem.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
Nice
Thanks,
meeting you
Emma.
all.
Nice to meet you, Elma.
Bye, Elma. Have a great